And if the, listeners are listening, so I'm one of three hosts of another podcast, and we've invited these guys on in our first season. We had a great time, and I kept bragging and saying how much I love movies. And when I listened to the first couple episodes of their podcast to kind of get myself going, they were doing some breakdowns of video games and movies and stuff, and I was like, oh, I'd love to do that. I've never done that before. And then I don't know how we started talking about the movie that we're going to talk about, but
So Calvin teed it up, but Cobb, you struck out. So I'll do it for you. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be talking about This Podcast is for Nerds. And today we have an honored guest with us. We have a guest today who works really hard, but knows how to keep things nice and smooth. We have one of three hosts of the Be Easy podcast here with us today, Mr. C.O. Bravo, Mr. Cobb with us today, here to talk to you about memories, memory gains, memory losses, and maybe it's a dream. What spawned the Matrix? Where'd the red pill come from? It doesn't matter, because today we're going to bring you back to a time of simplicity, a time of Colin Farrell, a time of Arnold Schwarzenegger. Welcome to a recap on Total Recall.
It's really
well done, Zach. Well done. Yeah, welcome to Media Club, everyone. So this week we have a special guest with us, and they were kind of the inception of picking Total Recall. So I'm excited to discuss this because I was just talking with Zach before we recorded, but I think I'm the only one that hasn't seen the remake. So I have questions. Very curious if it holds up. I'm going to give a brief introduction of the movie, and then we're just going to jump into it. So if you haven't seen the movie, pause this, watch it. I would say watch the original only. I'm just guessing. If you guys disagree, let me know.
I enjoyed things that happened it was a lovely reminiscing of the original, but yeah, I mean the original doesn't to me the original is the way to go if you're gonna watch it. For sure.
Okay, and Zach's shaking his head. So.
They have different vibes entirely. Like you could put someone in front of each movie and they would think it's a different movie, even though they have the same similar premise. Especially because of the storytelling stuff. We can get to it later, but there's main reasons why I was like, okay, I can definitely see these two separately. But we're going to continue because we have an agenda, ladies and gentlemen. And we're going to hold to it.
I'm keeping us on schedule. I'm that annoying person on vacation that has every minute.
That's good. I like that. No, it's the way to go.
Okay, so Total Recall. It's a 1990 science fiction action film starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sharon Stone, and Michael Ironside. It's based on We Can Remember It For You Wholesale, a Philip K. Dick short story. And the film tells the story of a construction worker who suddenly finds himself embroiled in espionage on Mars and is unable to determine if the experiences are real or if they're the result of memory implants. At the time, it was one of the most expensive films ever made, with a budget of around $60 million, and it was a blockbuster success, earning $261 million worldwide. Let's give a quick review, spoiler free maybe. Let's start with Cobb. What do you think of the original, and then maybe you can do the remake since you've watched it.
Yeah, so I did a reviewing back to back recently because I was like, you know what, I'm gonna watch it again, and I think watching them together made it a lot more fun for me. But for 1990, the original. To me, the number one, Schwarzenegger, you can't kind of beat him. And he's so perfect for this role because of his robotness in your head. And I don't know if that's just because of being so used to seeing him in Terminator and being that's who it is. But thinking that, you could definitely implant something in Schwarzenegger's brain and it would change him, no problem. And nobody would know. And, I love, I love the way that the story takes you. I love all of the underground people. I love all the characters that come out and that are sneaky. And even in the background I had up, you can see that's what I get in number one that I don't get in the second one. I think there's a lot more characters. There's a lot more things I wanted to know about or see in a reprise situation in two that I didn't get a flavor for. But one, there's like so many cool things, you know, and I don't want to call out all this stuff because I don't want to be a spoiler, but like even the cab drivers and like the smallest little like guys in that 1990 version, like make it for me. Like I'm laughing and it's funny. And I think the people like what do I say? The special effects back then kind of just like hit home for me. I always like seeing the old school ones because nowadays it's like a joke. I mean, it looks so real and so good. Even in 2012, when the second one came out, it's so much realer than in the first one.
Yeah.
I'm interested to hear what Zach has to say.
Well, I will say that they're two very different movies, and if you're into different types of like cast, that's what's going to sell you on the movie for your rating. I liked both movies, but they're different movies. Like if you like Minority Report, you're gonna like the 2012 version. If you like old 70s Star Wars, you're gonna like the 1990 version. Like that's the kind of different feel they bring to it. The lighting in 1990 is much brighter. It's much more like I wouldn't say mystical, but it's like, oh, you know, you're on Mars. It's red. It's vibrant. Even the gritty scenes, they're supposed to be like hardcore and like, mind you, this movie came out when I was born, so it probably was.
I was
gritty.
thinking that too. I didn't realize that. Like, how did I get so good? Like, I think, and it's so funny. I watched one of those or that Blockbuster documentary the other night on Netflix, but I definitely grabbed this at like a local video store, and it was one of the ones I like hid for my mom. I'm just like, no, hey, mom.
I think my parents watched it or it came on TV, and I was like, I remember seeing Arnold Schwarzenegger like suffocating his head pop, and I was like, what the hell was that?
I love in the preview too, like with the lady when it comes apart in the beginning, and she's like all shaking, all crazy.
2 weeks,
2 weeks.
I love that too. There's a lot of iconic scenes in the 1990 that there aren't in the newer one in the 2012, and Jessica Biel ruins it for me. She's too many other things.
Is she Lori in it?
No, she's
she's the Milena. Okay,
yeah.
So they're different movies to me, honestly. Like you, if you like that kind of gritty post Matrix kind of dark pre Transformers art style, then it's probably a fun ride for you. But Colin Farrell is fun to watch him whenever he decides to reappear and do something. But again, it wasn't like, oh, I got to go watch this movie. Whereas the 1990 one, I can go and watch because it's just like, man, this was scary at some point in time when I was a kid, and now it's just hilarious. Like, and it's Schwarzenegger doing campy Schwarzenegger stuff.
Yeah,
he was the best then. He was the best then when he was, I couldn't even stomach watching like, what's the one when they're all together and it's like every star. Every action hero.
Expendables.
Yeah, no. I was like, no.
It's terrible.
But he was so good. I honestly enjoyed him in a lot of movies he was in. And I don't want to tangent, but like Kindergarten Cop is also
so good. It's not a tumor, all right?
Yeah, I mean, that's the Arnold that pulls me in the 1990. I'm like, oh my god, and you could see him like as a regular guy too, right? Like,
totally.
Yeah, I mean, it's
dude. Okay,
no,
so I'm really glad you're mentioning that.
Or did you just say Jingle All the Way? Because that's also one I thoroughly enjoy. My wife will attest. I'm a Christmas movie like maniac.
So this was the last Arnold Schwarzenegger movie I watched before watching Total Recall was Jingle All the Way. We had watched it over Christmas, and I was like, this feels like a really weird juxtaposition of like Family Man Arnold versus like banging Sharon Stone Arnold.
Right, I know.
It's wild.
She looks good, by the way, too. I mean, you forget that it's Sharon Stone. Sharon Stone's was...
Yeah, I pulled a little trivia. Sharon Stone actually got her role in Basic Instinct from this movie.
Wow.
Really? Yeah, iconic for her. It's huge.
Definitely triggered my Basic Instincts.
Yeah. Oh, that movie's so bad. I love it though.
I love that movie. Wayne Knight is why I love Basic Instinct.
That is a good reason to love that movie.
Yes, it is. It is. It is. Oh, and the main character's name is Carl. That was like a detail that I didn't pick up, I feel like, when I was a kid, or maybe I didn't remember, because it's Carl. That's like his fake name when he's not Quaid.
Oh, yeah.
Like his alias is. So in the beginning of the movie, like when I first turned it on to watch it, like the last time, it was like Carl. And I'm like, like Sharon Stone saying my name. Like,
It's everything I ever wanted.
Excuse me. And but yeah, and they just don't make movies like either of those anymore. I feel like and it's like the right kind of action with not too much. I feel like the bigger the action and the scenes and the stuff got, the more I lost interest in movies as I got older. But back then it was like that was the perfect amount of like crazy stuff happening. And I remember scaring my brother with scenes of when they open up his chest and you like see him finally. Probably just ruined something, but
well, you didn't go into detail.
Yeah, so but I remember like being like, oh, I can do that, and like going over to my brother, trying to scare him. I used to be a big movie like crazy weird movies from the movie shelves at Reynolds, and we didn't have a Blockbuster. We had like weird ones, like we had one called like Videotape Library, and then like Hollywood Stars or Hollywood somethings.
We had Hollywood Video here.
Hollywood Video. That's what it is. Yeah.
That place was awesome.
But that's definitely where I watched it for the first time, was renting it from there, 100%.
Yeah, for me too. I mean, this movie came out before I was born. I think it was probably the second Arnold movie I ever saw. Definitely the first was Predator.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, my dad was super into the Predator movie, and like there was a point where he was like, you can see all the violence you want, like heads getting blown off, but if there's a nipple, like
you're done.
Yeah, you're not seeing that. Yeah, I could watch Sopranos all day, but the second they go into the bada bing, we're shutting this shit down.
Oh, and RoboCop too.
Oh, RoboCop was really good.
God, I forgot about RoboCop. I used to love the RoboCop action figure where you could like flip them.
Yeah.
And he would like
it's set in our city. It's wild.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you have to give it a 5-star rating, Cobb, rate both of them for me.
So I think I'll give 5 stars being that's like my ultimate
your favorite movie. Yeah,
I'm gonna give it like a 2.5. Like I really do like the movie. It's a solid watch. If it's on, you're watching it. But I don't think I'm like bringing it like in my collection with me somewhere.
Yeah,
like it's not in a top 10er for me.
No.
And the second one is like, I'm not, Colin does it for me every once in a while, but sometimes I'm just like, I know you're just like a drunk asshole. Like I know you are. and you get to be on camera every once in a while. No, but yeah, that one. So I probably give that one like, I'll probably give that one a flat 2 stars. It's Jessica Biel ruins it for me because there's no mystery. She's like Jessica Biel. She's Seventh Heaven, like all those other things. It's really hard for me to detach her and be in that role. But yeah, no, I mean, I think that's one that I probably wouldn't go out of my way to watch. But I feel like if you've seen the first one, you've got to see the second one.
Okay. All right. I think you've convinced me. I'm going to watch it after this.
It's worth it. If you haven't seen either of them, you could maybe stay home. But
yeah, that's a fair assessment. Honestly, I think my rating scale will probably go about the same. I'd give them both 3s just because they're both solid rides. You just have to be in a different mood for each one. And like, again, I think post Matrix movie decade, everyone got way too fucking gritty, trying to make these like super sexy dynamic leads who were just like, who am I? Where did I come from?
Right.
Why am I here? Look at my hair.
Right, always with that.
Yeah. That quaff, Monster Energy. I'm like, okay, okay. But thank you to Shia LaBeouf who broke that main character role, because we just needed a dork again, and he gave it to us for like 3 solid movies.
You forget that he was really good back then too, with how crazy he is now.
And
he's nuts, man.
He broke like, I mean, honestly, like the first Transformers, I was talking to someone about this the other day. That's something that went too far also with like remakes and more versions, because I watched the first one because I wanted to see Optimus transform. Once I saw it the first time, I didn't need to have the 20-minute sequence in every goddamn movie watching a machine turn into a humanoid.
It's got to be weird having Mark Wahlberg replace you too as a lead. It's gotta be
As someone who's just like already busy, like, hey Mark, can you sub in real quick? Because we just lost the guy.
It's like not a big deal. You could just move on over here. The Transformers gets me every time though, and I definitely watched the first one because I loved Transformers as a kid. And then I lived in Bethlehem when they were filming some of the ones down by the where the Sands Casino is in Pennsylvania. Yeah. They filmed them back in the old oil rigs back there. And we used to hear explosions like constantly in the middle of the night. They'd be filming, like you'd see stuff from the top. It was really like, it was not uncommon to be out in like Bethlehem and feel like something in the distance, like crashing or burning or shaking.
That's crazy.
I just want to call out that you mean in the U.S., Bethlehem.
Yes, Bethlehem,
Middle East,
not the actual Middle East.
Cobb is, yes, he's from the Middle East. Yeah.
Yes, no. I forget. So that would have been like 2007 or maybe 6.
That's what I was thinking, yeah. Because I feel like I was in high school when those came out.
Yeah, I was in like my second year or third year of college, maybe second and a half or something like that. But I just vividly remember seeing like signs up that would say like filming or like can't come through, and it was like near campus, so like you had to stay away for a while. But Transformers, after the one where like they changed Megan out, even though the blonde was like great, I kind of was like, okay, so now you're telling me that Shia LaBeouf has moved on from Megan Fox.
No one does that.
He just couldn't take it anymore. Him and his robots just said, Megan, I'm sorry. And now he's like with this, crazy, even hotter blonde, and they live in like the loft in New York. And I'm like, stop this.
Yeah, it's just not believable.
He is really, I think though, somebody where I thought he was going to be like really, really a great actor, and I think he does do some different stuff now, but when I look back at some of the movies he was in before, I'm like, he could have been pretty good. Like,
oh yeah,
Holes was all right. Even Stevens was great.
Yeah, have you seen his biopic movie?
I haven't seen it yet. I heard it was great.
It's pretty good. Yeah.
What's it called? It's
Honey Boy.
Honey Boy, that's right.
Yeah, he plays his dad.
Okay.
And you can see like, because they like the very first scene, it's great. It's him doing like a Transformers scene.
Okay.
So they go through like his whole career. They do like the Even Stevens, but I guess his dad was like incredibly abusive and stuff. So you get like where he's coming from. It was good. But yeah, he's had some hit and miss stuff.
I'll have to check that out. But I've always liked him. And I don't think he ruined it. I think the first Transformers is exactly the way that it should be.
Yeah.
But like 3 and 4 are pretty.
I just laughed when he started college in the second one, and he told Bumblebee to stay home. And I'm like, bro, you literally like know that there are things out to kill you. 1, 2, you have a Camaro.
Yeah. How do you not bring that to college with you?
College, right?
I'm sorry. This is not the movie we're supposed to be talking about.
Yeah, well, back to it. Back to it. Yeah.
All right. Okay. My rating, I'm going to give the only one I watched, which is the original. I'll give it 3. I think it's really good.
I feel like I need a scale for you guys though. I'm not going to interrupt. Finish your thing first. Go.
Okay. Like the only thing I can compare it to that's being made now is like, if you enjoyed Blade Runner, 2049, I feel like that's a very similar vibe. So if you enjoyed that and you want to go back, like, I mean, obviously watch the original Blade Runner if you haven't, because it's fantastic. But I feel like this is a similar vibe. I mean, it's a 90s movie technically, but it's so 80s to me.
Yes.
It's got an 80s vibe, and, it's right up against the 80s, so that makes sense. I think the use of, like, miniatures is really cool. Like,
yes.
It's not super CG heavy, but the CG that is used is, I mean, it's groundbreaking. There's some really cool stuff. But, like, the conjoined twins... I'm not going to spoil like what that is, but like that stuff is super awesome. So yeah, if you're into like gross out, like sci-fi, like body horror stuff, I think you'll enjoy it. Otherwise skip it. All right, let's cut into real spoilers, what we enjoy, stuff like what our history is. You kind of told us your history with the movie. You rented it and hid it from your parents. Zach, what's yours?
I just feel like I ended up watching it. Either my parents rented it or it was on TV. I can't remember exactly how I originally saw it, but I just know there was the scene where, like I said, his head popped and it freaked me out. But I kept watching it, and you go through the rest of the movie, you're just like, what is going on? And you're like, Quattro, I'm like, what? Just like, and just like the different things that, like, I look back now when I went and kind of reviewed it recently, like the scene where they're after 2 weeks when they start shooting at him. If you knew that your life support Mars base had glass that thin, why the fuck are you shooting at somebody?
There's a lot of questionable decisions that the leadership makes, including letting your wife sleep with Arnold Schwarzenegger. That seems like a real bad move. I'm just saying, like,
it does seem like a real bad move. I always was wondering that too, what they were thinking and how he thought she was gonna like come back. Like, oh, that's had enough of Mr. Universe. Like,
yeah,
I love
your
your
hair.
hair. I love your receding. I love your receding hairline and your laser gun. Like, he's such a. I hate that too when they make those guys like that, and like it's so unbelievable that he would be with that chick. It's like,
Exactly. Oh, that is the worst. Yeah, like it makes sense. Sharon Stone is with Arnold. Like they're both stunning. Yeah.
Physiques, freaking perfect body people. But yeah, I the other thing I remember too about when I rented it was, and I don't know if it was rated R because there is brief nudity in the movie.
Oh, that scene is iconic.
Right? That's got to be top. That's got to be in the top sci-fi scenes, right? Because there's not many.
Yeah.
Probably the most famous three boobs ever seen, I would say.
Kung Pao into the fist.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that too. But I mean, Total Recall paved the way for that, right?
I'm sure, right?
They did.
And they kept it true in the remake, which I did enjoy.
Okay, is it like
for things that I loved?
Is it
saying the reimagined three boobs in 2012?
So I have to ask, since I didn't watch it, is it like super prosthetic-y where it's like pretty like unrealistic?
Fairly legit. Yeah,
Really?
They look fairly legit. Yeah, and she's way more attractive than the original. Although the original was giving me more of a like realistic. What's the girl from Futurama?
Oh, really?
I think isn't her hair purple too in the first one?
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the vibe I was getting too, a little futuristic, Futurama vibe in some of it. But yeah, I mean, I think I love a lot of the same things that you were mentioning, Calvin, too, with the miniatures. And I love when they build those sets like that, because I used to love doing that kind of stuff too when I was a kid, to try to make it like look real when you're like super up close to it and stuff.
Oh, totally. Yeah, I would grab my camera and
like Lego towns and things like that. So I used to have a super appreciation for when they would create that kind of stuff. I hated that they made. I thought in the 2012 version they made it look so ugly.
Like the world, or
not just the world, but the whole feel of it was like
darker, uglier.
Yeah, it was like run down, like it was almost post-apocalyptic. Like they wanted to really drive the color scheme, really wanted to drive the depression of the situation, and not like the fantasy of the Martian environment.
Right, and there was so much more like they were making it feel like machine-ish. Like remember, like it looked like everything was like built out of cars or like compact vehicles in the 2012 one. I'm like, when did that happen? All of a sudden, like, everything and what the year did they say it is? Do you know?
It's 2084.
What is it?
It's 2084.
Oh, I love that. I love when you're not there yet.
Right? Oh yeah.
We're talking about, and I don't want to get again. I'm getting off topic, but Back to the Future is like one of my probably tops.
Oh yeah.
And didn't they? I think they had one already. And you know what I was thinking, and this thought just came back to me. That's probably why Back to the Future was stuck on my head. I have like the worst ADD on the planet. But 10 minutes ago, I was thinking when I was reading and looking at and you were reading the stats about the 1990s version, and it was the short story written in like 1966. Like that's probably a short story like Marty McFly's dad used to write back when he was like when he goes back to see him. Like that's how entwined my brain is in like the movie scenario. Like I know that was in the 50s or 60s, and he would write those spaceman, somebody stole my brain stories.
I would love to see a movie map of your mind of like just a wall with all the different movies you have like spread out on pin boards with a red string going between, and how you connected all the movies together. Because I feel like you'd be the perfect person to hire to sort out the Disney timeline of movies to figure out.
I'm going to get to see that soon. I'm getting really excited. Not to parent up the pod, but to watch all these old school Disney movies again. And like get real back deep into it. Go through Harry Potter with like a fine tooth comb, like when she's ready. There's so many good, like I was just saying to my wife the other night, like getting movies and new movies coming out back when I was like a young kid was the number one thing for me. I was like, I got to go to the movie store. Like I got to get a movie. All the new ones like would come out. Like I remember waiting for Rookie of the Year for like 3 days for it to be released. And how did you even find out about movies back then? Like,
oh, dude, it's crazy.
On TV? Was it TV commercials?
Yeah, nowadays, there was heavy advertising,
right? Because now you don't. I get like emails about when movies come out and stuff, but back in the day, it was like you knew you would wait and wait and wait, and then if it wasn't there, and my wife's from like a rural town. I don't know if this was similar, but like they were gone, like six walls of movies gone if it was a new release. And geez. I would have to stalk and like wait the next day to get them, and like always jumping. But yeah, I 90% of the time, if I remember something, it's probably because it was in a TV show or a movie.
Oh, I love people like that.
Most of the other stuff, people say it's like a superpower. But if there's anything else I could remember.
Yeah, something like, useful, right?
Yeah, right. Like some like mathematical equations or like.
Oh yeah, I vividly remember every Friday I'd hit up the Blockbuster Hollywood Video.
Have you guys watched the Netflix doc yet?
I haven't. So it's a Netflix produced one, right?
Yeah, it's really good, and basically there's only one left. There's one left.
Yeah, it's in Alaska, right?
It's actually
Australia, isn't it?
It's in Bend, Oregon. What's wild is I was actually in Bend, Oregon this past year, and I didn't know it was there. And there's no way we didn't drive past it because it's like the smallest town out there. It's like one of those towns where like the downtown is only, a couple of miles or whatever. And everybody knows everybody, and they go because they don't get like, the reason it stayed is because they weren't getting service, and internet service sucked, and you couldn't stream movies and stuff. So it stayed open for like a really long time. And now it's like they have movie memorabilia. It's crazy. But it's got me. I didn't mean to watch it last night, but it was like one of those things I turned on. And I was like, oh shit. And then I just like kept watching. And then I'm like, oh, it's over.
Dude, I just found this TikTok. I don't know if you guys use TikTok.
I do. I'm just coming off being fully obsessed with it.
It is.
I guess I don't use TikTok.
Don't.
Listen, I'm a secondhand TikTok user. My wife loves TikTok, and through her, I see all of the talks. I don't know if that's the right one to use. And I will say this officially right here on this podcast, on our official podcast for all of you who are listening. No cap, I will not get a TikTok, but yes cap, I will keep watching it with my wife.
Dude, I am your wife in my marriage because I just constantly show my wife TikToks. It is probably my favorite app right now, just because there's so much cool shit on there. But like, anyways,
so much
in relations to movie stores, like my dream when we retire, my wife and I, is like, I want to open up like a small little movie theater, just like one screen, and just like play old movies. Like that's my dream retirement job. But this couple on TikTok, they opened up a small little movie rental store in their basement.
I've seen it.
It's so cool. They've got like a memorabilia. They've got like a porno section. They have a little room in the back to watch the movies. It's so cool. And I was like, if we were in a condo and we had like a basement, I would love to do that project.
It's really cool. It looks good too. And what's crazy so we did a TikTok episode, and she didn't see anything on TikTok the way that I did. So it's wild to me that you mention it, and I know exactly what you're talking about, because it's the crazy thing about TikTok is how different, like, and quick it changes, like your stream of content. It's like crazy. But yeah, that would be so cool to have your little own video stand. And I would love having the VHSs. I miss cover art. I used to love cover art.
Dude, movie posters now suck. They're all the same.
Yeah,
it's
all
the
the
three
same.
heroes, and they've got like they're kind of like faded
Like
on
I
the
got,
sides.
I want to put it up before we finish for sure. I got to have it back up because I went and got it and I loved it. I get a backup too. I might have one other one. Let me see.
Yeah, that one's really high quality. I think that was for the
This is like
remaster.
serious. Yeah, look at this. He's
That's
so
so
handsome
legit.
in it. He's so handsome. Where's the other one? Did I save it? Add.
His hairline is amazing.
Oh yeah, this is the one that when I'm just really in it there. That's a good one.
That's so good.
So I have two fun facts of trivia since you both like trivia.
Let's do it.
So, do either of you know what real world connection Schwarzenegger has to his character in the 1990 film?
He's banged Sharon Stone.
Has he really?
I don't know.
Oh,
I would believe him if he
Yeah.
said that. You know, I couldn't. I'm not going to say no. So what does he have in common? Did he work construction?
he did. There you
Nice.
go. Good shot.
Nice. That was
He
a good
actually
one.
he actually was a construction worker when he came to the U.S. and he was training for Mr. Olympia. He was a construction worker, and that was one of his first jobs here while he went to Santa Monica College.
Wow.
I know this because I am a huge, obviously, lifting nerd, and I have a lot of knowledge on these people's lives.
Well, what's his big movie too? The where it's like about his life or whatever. Mr.
Conan.
Oh, right. No, stop. No, what is the
Nice.
one? It's like him about him working out, like getting to be Mr. Universe.
I
didn't know he had a dog.
He has a blueprint series that he has out. That he put out with Rogue. No, he put out with Muscle Farm because he's a big contributor to them, and that's how I watched
Is
his
he?
I watched his a documentary he put out through them. I don't know about the official. There's another one. It's not Generation. It's not Generation Iron, is it? I didn't think he was in that one. Oh, you know what? No. I know what you're talking. Oh, what is that thing called?
Pump You Up. It's like his series. What's it called? Not Pump You Up. It's damn it.
Pumping Iron.
Yeah.
Is that what it's called? Pumping
Yeah.
Iron?
Yeah. 1977 doc. Oh, it's on Prime if anyone wants to watch it.
Oh yeah, there you go. I knew I saw it recently.
God,
that
he's
was the one
so
they were-
shredded.
And that's the other crazy part. And in order for him to start doing movies after he retired from bodybuilding, he had to lose a lot of weight.
I'm sure. I'm sure.
Yeah.
He's unmovable on some of these. Yeah. My God, dude.
Yeah, it just looks uncomfortable in some of them. It's crazy. Yeah, he
Animal.
was much leaner in Recall.
Yes.
Well,
yeah.
But still
It
absolutely
still
a
took
monster.
5 dudes to pick him up and drag him, though.
Yeah, exactly.
I love in both of them how they, it's like, oh man, I forget how to, kick the shit. And then both of them, there's like one, I think for Colin, it like something clicks or there's like a gun to his head. And then all of a sudden he's like, takes out 6 dudes in like 3 minutes. And Schwarzenegger, the same thing, but they both look like dudes that would do it anyway. It's not like it's a surprise. Like, it's not like some nerdy guy, that's like, oh shit, I'm a secret agent.
It's not like Tobey Maguire in the first Spider-Man. Where he's like watching his fist, just like go past his face, and he's like, oh, well, that was crazy.
Right.
It's
So
funny.
probably where I fell off to with superhero movies is
The Raimi Spider-Man?
yeah.
Yeah, there's been better ones since, but I don't know how much better.
Yeah. I mean, he'll just be Spider-Man to me for whatever reason. I don't think of the other kid as Spider-Man at all. I always think of Toby.
So real quick, because we not only have decided to not take the train and leave the station, we've just gone into a boat and then jumped
what's
off the
left?
boat.
Thoughts and questions.
We basically just did a fast 5 where we stopped driving cars, started jumping off of trains. So my question here, since the basic premise is this guy is fed up with his life, he wants to go live as a superhero or an agent, And then when he goes to this place called Recall, they can implant memories, and you get a whole new life if you want it. So they go to implant memories. They go, oh crap, this guy's already got memories. He's already an agent. Is he not an agent? So here's where a lot of people get a little not confused but divided on if this whole movie is a dream sequence that Recall actually put in successfully, or was he really an agent formally, doing his thing, trying to get into the resistance and really kind of play out the plot of the movie. Now, Cobb, since you've seen both recently, back to back, isn't Colin Farrell's hair amazing?
He does have a way better coif than Schwarzenegger does.
That's
like
true.
Him and Jessica Biel, they're athletes. They definitely know what they're doing. But I don't think it's too outside of the realm of possibility, though, either as something that could happen. What's the other one I saw recently with Paul Rudd, where he goes in and they replace him and
the Netflix show, right?
Yeah, it's kind of wild.
Living with Yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure at some point there will be way to do some sort of memory repull or memory change or delete. What's the other one? Spotted Sunshine.
Eternal Sunshine, man. That's a depressing ass movie.
It is depressing, but I could see there. I mean, it's such a, I feel like it's so similar to a computer, the way the brain works in some capacities.
Yeah,
that they'll probably figure out a way to be able to let you talk to it. I mean, they're already going to let us move things with looking at it and are, making gestures and things like that. So I don't find it hard to believe. What's funny to me is that I feel like it continuously shows up every couple years.
Right.
Like in movies, there's that kind of introduction back in. So usually stuff that happens in the movies happens for real at some point.
Do you think that the movie itself was a dream sequence?
I feel like in the first one, I was trying to believe it more than I was in the second one for some reason. Because I feel like I've seen Colin's kind of, Minardi, he is a sneaky spy guy, right? That's kind of his MO. And again, when I see Arnold, I'm like, you dumb, silly bitch. Stop it. Because he's a teddy bear. You know he is.
Oh, yeah.
Right? What's
his?
It's like Mr. I have to go to the bathroom. What's his name? Mr. Whatever in Kindergarten Cop.
Oh, Kindergarten
Cop. Anyway, but he's, so that's what, for me, that made it maybe he was working out in the Mars graveyards, wanted to go have an exciting time and saved up his money and bought it,
That's a really good point.
The other guy, to Colin Firth, I'm like, you're definitely a spy. That's what you do.
That's a really good point, though, because they didn't really do a great job trying to make it seem like he didn't already have the base capabilities to be that. Whereas, Schwarzenegger was basically playing a dreamer who was just like, man, it'd be so cool if I got to do. Because even throughout the whole movie, when he met the different people and had all the money, he was like, oh, this is awesome. I'm just playing this up in this dream.
Right.
And Colin was like, yeah, who am I?
He's like, oh, my family, my parents. And Schwarzenegger, you could tell he was having daddy mommy issues. And Schwarzenegger was like, doesn't Mars look great? It's a wonderful place to visit. Baby, why don't you let me take you on a trip to Mars? And to me, that was this dude, stop it. So that's why I'll say I believe in the first. I'll go final answer. I think, I definitely could believe it, that it was he was implanted and he had a great time. And if they would have shown him waking up on a beach in Mars, with Sharon, the next day, or even with what's her name, and it was his wife. Am I remembering the end? Do they really do that? I don't think they do that in the end, right?
No, in the end, they don't really do anything.
They don't phase out. Okay,
right,
maybe I just had a dream about it the next night after I watched it.
No, they do the reactor or whatever, and then
that's right. It turns on, and then yeah.
Mars is breathable.
But again, if that was the alt ending where it's Schwartz and Melina on the beach, and she's like, "Oh, what's wrong, honey?" and he's like, "Nothing. It was just a dream." And
that was the camera.
And they were like, yeah, they came out real high. Yeah, I would be like, okay, great movie. I would go like this, and Abby would yell. She'd be like, "That's so fucking stupid." Stop.
When I was in high school, my friends and I had a way to make every bad Nicolas Cage movie a great one. We
Oh,
would
I
just
love that.
have
Every
Nicolas.
Nicolas Cage movie is a good Nicolas Cage movie. So.
Well, here's
I
what we
just
would
talked
do.
about him today.
Here's what we would do though. We'd have an empty room, black background, everything, and we have a folding chair. Denzel Washington would walk out and sit down in the middle, and he would just go, "My name is Denzel Washington," and then he would close his eyes, play an entire Nicolas Cage movie, and at the end, just have Denzel open his eyes and go, "This was my nightmare," and then end it. All of a sudden, Academy Award, Oscars, everything.
So how do you feel about Face Off 2, Zach?
Are they really doing that?
Wait, is there a Face Off 2 coming?
Yeah.
Oh my god!
I'm actually excited.
Those were the days, dude. Back when Cage and Travolta were on top of their game.
Oh yeah.
And just doing like cool flicks, like Gone in 60 Seconds. Like that movie's incredible. It's an incredible movie. It's amazing. Yeah, it's an amazing movie. He does a great job in it. I've watched it on like TNT and TBS so many times through the commercials and loved it. That to me that's like the acting I grew up with. And like who is the other, like I'm a big Lethal Weapon fan. I'm just tiffing on for 80s and 90s, but massive Lethal Weapon fan. Loved all four. Probably one of the few series I think that stuck it together where I was in for the ride for every one.
Well, how do you feel about Die Hard?
I didn't get into it as deep. I've seen them all. I the new one is silly to me. But Die Hard to me is like late Office episodes now. Like that's more where
But you love Christmas movies, though.
I do love Christmas movies. That one gets thrown in the mix. I usually watch it.
100% a Christmas movie.
I have to watch it when Abby's out of the house because she doesn't like when people get killed. So there's a lot of death.
I think that's a hot take.
Man.
That's just hilarious.
Right. That's her. That's her. It's funny, I feel like I watch so much TV. She's not like a TV gal, but she's like been embracing it lately. And when she calls stuff out, I'm like, oh shit, dude, you're turning. Like I'm like getting her to like start watching.
You're
stuff.
a movie person,
right? You're a movie person now. But I'm such an indie movie watcher nowadays, like dumb indie rom-coms. And she gets mad because they end so quickly, or there's like no reason for it. Like it's just a couple of them were like, oh, yeah, it was like what's his name? Have you seen the new one with the dude from Saturday Night Live that just won the award? It's not a rom-com. What's that with
Saturday Night Live?
What is his name?
Schitt's Creek?
Not Schitt's Creek. Well, Schitt's Creek was really good, but not Schitt's Creek. It's
because he did a Christmas movie recently too. Daniel Levy.
Oh, I did watch that one. I did watch that Christmas movie. No, this was the dude from oh my god.
Is it the one who Peter he just won an award because he
King of Staten Island?
King of Staten Island?
He was all no, not him. This is the guy that was like high when he won. He had the hood on. He dated.
Dude, that is my favorite Apple TV show.
Is it good? Yeah. That. Is it good?
It's amazing. It is the only reason to get Apple TV. Ted Lasso is the show.
That's what it is. Ted Lasso. Yeah,
it is.
Yeah.
Okay, so the premise of the show. Total Recall talk is done.
Total, I love you. Let's give one last shout out. Go Hagen. Give the people more air.
Okay,
I love solid 2.5, 3. Go watch it.
That's
have a
fair.
sandwich, enjoy yourself. But
I think we can all agree that Elon Musk is Hagen at this point.
Yes, he is. He will be.
He's 100% Hagen.
100. Yeah, he will be.
Okay, so Ted Lasso.
But now you can buy a Tesla with Bitcoin. So.
Why would you buy a depreciating thing with an appreciating thing? I know. Yeah, it makes no sense.
Shuffle tell you how. Shuffle tell you how.
So he can steal money from people again. And rack up more money from people who don't understand that they're. Never mind. We're getting in the auto industry. That's a different episode. Let's continue.
Yeah. Okay. So Ted Lasso.
Let's hear how Ted Lasso. I don't know a lot about it. I saw him win. I was cracking up. I love him and everything else.
Yeah. Jason.
He's in that movie with my other favorite indie actress, the brunette from the acapella movie. I love her so much.
Anna Kendrick.
Anna Kendrick. They're in the one together. Or no, I'm thinking of Allison Veal too. Or the one Sleeping with Other People.
Oh, that movie's so good.
I love that movie. But anyway, he's good. So what's the premise?
Okay, so Ted Lasso, he plays an American football coach who's kind of like failing. He's like, it's not like, big, he's not huge. And then he gets picked up by this Premier League soccer team over in the
Okay.
UK to coach, and he knows nothing about soccer. And it is fucking fantastic. He's just like, he eats up every scene he's in. He's like super punny. He's throwing out puns all the time, and they're great. You know, I'm big into, like, I really like soccer. I got into soccer from one of my buddies. I don't do Premier League. I'm more into the Spanish league.
Okay.
But I think even non-soccer fans would enjoy
I
it.
still like it. I've watched. I used to watch. Manchester Sunday morning soccer. I've watched that. I played growing up. I definitely know the sentiment if that's what the deal is. So that might be cool. I love him. He cracks me up. I think he's probably one of the like true leftover SNL guys that I'm like, he was still there.
He's one of those that I just absolutely love, and it's so soccer light. I mean, obviously the plot is soccer, but it's all about the relationships, like all the players on the team and
is
stuff.
Is it like a soccer? Well, no, I was thinking of that show, The League, like if it was a real soccer version, but like that kind of humor, right?
Yeah. It's less raunchy. It's more like wholesome, punny type stuff.
Okay.
But yeah, highly recommend it. It's my number one show from last year.
And then there's a lot of other crazy shit coming out soon that I just learned about recently. So they're making a Mighty Ducks comeback.
So
you guys aware of this?
On Disney Plus?
Yeah. So, dude, oh my God. All right. We have to talk about it. So Emilio is back.
Wait, what?
And he's back, and he's a leading role.
Yo, okay.
He's a leading
Is he
role.
playing a coach then?
Yes. He owns a rink in it.
Okay.
So here's the premise, which unbelievable. And you guys know my love for Gilmore Girls.
Gilmore Girls is
Laura Graham is fucking in it as well.
Oh shit.
She's like it's those two as the lovers. Only negative, no Charlie, obviously. But so here's the premise. Mighty Ducks in Minnesota got so big, right? Disney picked it up, blah, 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 blah. Because you've seen it when they go to high school in the fourth, you find that out, right? So that the hometown, right, where the original Hawks and the Ducks, like they own that stadium now, right? It's like theirs. And it's turned into this like powerhouse, like big money hockey. And Laura Graham's kid gets cut from the team. And then we're Little Giants full all the way through hockey with the Mighty Ducks thrown in. Ragtag kids team, love story between Estevez and Laura Graham. And then it sounds like there's a ton of like old school visitors coming in, like Banksy coming back to help, or the chicks. Like they're supposed to have a lot of lead, of the original kids come back.
Dude, this comes out in
like
2
tomorrow,
days.
Right? I know. I'm so jazzed.
This is insane.
Like, if you can't tell, I'm fucking jazzed because I can't wait. I think it's gonna be decent. Cobra Kai lovers at all? Did you watch?
Yeah. I'm on the first season.
It's
I watched
solid.
It. Yeah, I was a big Karate Kid fan, so
same.
Yeah, I grew up on that. I didn't realize it was going to be a TV show and not a movie.
Yeah,
that's so cool.
It's gonna run. I mean, obviously they filmed season 1, but I'm like loving this little fun time and give these guys like a retirement plan. Like, hey, you made great movies and they come back and work a little bit and feed it.
Well, we've talked about this a bunch of times on the show, but I love the weekly release. I hate like releasing everything all at once and
really? You'd rather get it once a week?
Yeah, because I like to have the discussions between episodes. I mean, I guess a show like this would be fine to binge, but I like discussing theories
on what's going to happen next. You mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that would make sense.
I mean,
I haven't watched a show like that in a while.
I guess it's easier to like. You can't like. You have to really kind of pace yourself with your food, right? If you have your full course, you can't just be like, oh yeah, I'll watch this one episode with you, and then all of a sudden it goes like, oh, a couple of days you don't get to sync up, and all of a sudden, sorry, bro, I finished the whole season, and guess what? Everyone died.
Right. I do that. That's the other reason why Abby can't watch TV, because I consume way too quickly. She's like, oh, I'm going to bed. I'm like, all right.
All right, this has turned into general TV and movie talk, so I'm just gonna put this out there. It's 2021, and Zach and I haven't really talked about movies from last year, so Question for both of you: what is your number one movie from last year?
That's easy for me though.
I don't know. I don't know if I have a movie, but I definitely have a show.
You can do show. That's fine.
And movie for me, I usually which I'm so mad at myself. I don't know how it happened. I mean, probably because I'm having a baby is why it happened. But and I'm not as sharp right now as I normally am. I missed the awards the other night too, the Oscars or the music awards or something. But
Yeah,
anyway,
Grammys
I
or
usually
whatever.
like when award season comes, and then I'll go and I'll ram all of them and like watch them all. But for me, Queen's Gambit this past year was the best thing I watched, I think, all year.
I've heard really good things. I haven't.
She was
watched it yet.
amazing. I
like
didn't
her a
watch
lot.
Peaky Blinders. I haven't watched that. But yeah, that show was absolutely incredible. And I don't think there was anything better from a drama for me. And then
I love your background,
you
Zach.
got me, Z. Oh, his head's fitting in there perfectly, isn't it, Colin?
Yeah,
It's, like,
it
right
is.
inside
Yeah.
of it. And then
It's a little chocolate
what's the
surprise.
other one I watched that I'm trying to think of what the other show I watched too. I can't remember. I've been watching too many food shows lately too. I've introduced myself to Hot Ones,
Oh,
big,
yeah.
big hot ones.
which I haven't watched before, but yeah, I'm gonna stick. I mean, I don't think there were actually for me was a 2020 movie that I am gonna be like, oh man, I remember that movie came out in 2020, like that rocked. But I'll remember Queen's Gambit, and I think I'll remember probably. Well, see, Schitt's Creek didn't come out, but I'll remember Schitt's Creek from the pandemic.
That's
Yeah.
fair.
Like those
Yeah.
are to me two iconics from the pandemic era, because I feel like it's gonna be an era, and there's probably like an era for movies and entertainment too, because they were just spewing shit out. You could tell, like,
Oh
they're
yeah.
like, we got time, people are watching, we got money, we got viewers. Like we wouldn't have probably got as many remakes and different things that we did get because of this. You know,
Yeah.
it's crazy. It's
Zach,
crazy.
what about you?
Yeah, what's yours, Zach?
Honestly, this one is because of Calvin, and I still love this movie and reference it quite often. But Parasite, the movie
Hell
was
yeah.
sick.
I
The
didn't
movie was
watch
so
it.
sick. You
I haven't
honestly
seen
like
it.
if you don't mind subtitles, it's a really great ride.
I can vibe it every once in a while. Yeah,
It's on
Yeah,
Hulu,
it's-
right?
is it on
Yeah,
Hulu right now?
I think
watched
so,
it on
yeah.
Hulu. I think it should still be there.
And that's the one where like it takes over. It's like the Asian family, right? And they like, am I thinking of the same one?
So okay, so this Parasite the Maxim, where it's the anime where there is a parasite that takes over, you fight stuff. This one's the real life one out of Korea.
Yeah,
and
that's
it
right.
won a
What
bunch
is
of awards.
what's the director's name?
Calvin, it's all
Bong
you.
Joon Ho.
There you
What
go.
is it?
Bong Joon Ho.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, he's done some
They-
really good stuff.
They've raked it in, and he's done other really good things too, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, he's pretty prolific. He did a Netflix movie that I feel like not enough people saw. It's called Okja.
Okja.
Yeah, it's really good. It's about a giant pig. It's cool.
So what's yours? What's your 2020?
Oh me, I'm between two. So I really enjoyed Palm Springs with Andy Samberg.
Oh my God! Yeah, I love. Actually, I did see that. That's a great. Abby
really
actually
enjoyed
liked that
that.
one too. Yeah, it was good. I like that.
It was a really like lighthearted kind of like Groundhog Day.
Love
and-
Groundhog Day. Do you watch Sandberg in that dumb cop one at all?
Oh yeah,
I do.
Oh yeah,
I very much.
I've
do.
only watched it. I watched it early on. My brother tried to get me into it, but I saw it, and which made me enjoy that movie more because I kind of like had a flavor for his character and his style a little bit more because he
Yeah.
goes off. That's him. I feel like in that movie, he goes.
Yeah,
off.
totally. Yeah, Brooklyn Nine-Nine is like one of my wife and I's
Sneaky
favorite
good.
show. Yeah, it's great.
Sneaky good.
I think I'm sad it's only getting one more season, but
Yeah.
The other one is Sound of Metal. I think Riz Ahmed, the main actor in it, was nominated for an Oscar. I don't think he'll get it.
Okay.
But it's about a heavy metal drummer that starts to lose his hearing.
Oh wow.
It's really good. And they play with the audio a lot in the movie, so like you can't hear the people talking to him, so you're like you're
Seeing
him.
what he's saying. That's
Yeah.
cool.
It's on Prime. It's it's awesome. I highly recommend it.
I
96 on Rotten Tomatoes. That's insane.
Holy shit!
Which one?
Sound of Metal. It's got a 96.
Yeah, it's a 10 for me. It'll go down as probably my top 100 movies of all time.
I'm gonna have to watch. Well, guys, that's what I'll be staying up doing. Then.
Also, Calvin, unfortunately, that movie's disqualified for your 2020.
Why is it 2021?
It's 2019, my dude.
Ouch.
Well, it came out on. Okay. IMDb says 2020. So.
Yeah, Calvin. But
all right, fine. Palm Springs. Then.
Palm Springs wins. Palm Springs
yeah, that's
wins.
fine. I don't mind. I really enjoyed.
Did you
Sound
guys
of Metal.
watch the one too? Palm Springs also reminds me of the Christina Applegate. That show too was pretty good.
Oh, the Netflix one?
Partly Dead or Better Off Dead.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that show.
Is that what it's called? Better Off Dead?
Dead to Me.
Dead to Me, yeah. That was
yeah,
another
that
one I
show's
think
great.
I'll remember too to come out.
Yeah.
I was surprised in that episode or in that show how well she was handling herself and from going back and forth, and she's still funny and crying and constantly crying. And
I love Linda Cardellini too.
yeah, she's so funny. So funny.
Yeah, she's great.
So funny. So
Freaks
funny.
and Geeks is an
Yeah.
all-time favorite.
Well, that's like the best ever. Yeah. I hope we continue to get I think that the movie the ability to make movies much more easier now than a couple years ago is getting a lot more things out there. Like I'm watching random stuff on Prime and Hulu that like I never would have watched before. And I feel like during the pandemic I'm like reached through the depths of fucking Netflix and Prime to find
for
stuff.
sure.
But anybody can put stuff on there, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Free market upload now, If you make a movie and you want to get it out there, you just toss it in there.
Yeah, it's never been easier to be a film. I mean, I can't remember the name of the movie. Tangerine, I think. It was like an Oscar-nominated movie. It was shot all on iPhones. Like it is totally doable to make a movie with an iPhone.
And now that new phone, they say is like movie credible, like whatever. The camera, like not 4K. It's the new Samsung. It's supposed to be like you can what you record you can take into 4K or HD or something like that.
Oh wow,
and,
that actually
and nice.
That makes sense for a Samsung because it's a Samsung and not an iPhone.
Why it's Cal iPhone and your Samsung?
No, I'm Android too.
I
Okay.
unfortunately
I'm Android.
I unfortunately have an iPhone that was given to me by work.
Ew.
And I
So
have
sorry.
to use it, but I'm also grateful because I don't have to like use my personal phone for that. So
Hey, that's true. That's true.
yeah.
That's true. But
Okay, I think we've hit our time.
we're good, I think, right?
I think really quickly. So I always wanted to know this, Cobb. Who does the voice when on you guys' intro? I've always wanted to know this.
Yeah, it's gotta be Shuff.
Okay.
Shuff's the
I
Mac
don't know.
Daddy. Shuff's got the Mac Daddy voice. He only brings it out sometimes when he's feeling like spicy. But we got to push him to do intros. So I do most, I'm like, and now that I've got this like arm thing set up now, I'm like all sassy
game
yelling when I
changer.
do my intros. But we usually do them after, right? So I like to listen to the episode and then bang out the intro. So usually what I'll do is Shuffle send it to me on like, a Saturday or Sunday, listen to it on my walk with the dog, come back, and then that Monday I'll rip like 10 of them and then send it off. But sometimes if someone's like looking at me, it takes me longer. But no, Shuff's got the sweet daddy voice. He's always running all the promos, all the what do you call it? Voiceovers are him, and he loves mixing up the intros and like surprising us. So like sometimes he'll be like, all right, thanks for the feedback. Like I'll let you hear it when I release it. And then we won't know until, midnight what it sounds like. Abby always gets all jazzed up. She's like, I hope you didn't pick the stupid one. She's like, I hope you picked the right one.
See,
But
I figured that maybe somewhere deep down, when you focus, you just can whip that out all over us and give us a deep.
I could
deep
probably
extra.
do a deep voice. I'm trying to think of, what makes me think of the deep voice is probably from Parks and Rec when they're talking Bobby Newport's never had a real job in his entire life. And then the other one that makes me laugh so much too is an Arnold Schwarzenegger, but it's a comedy bit. I can't remember who the guy is, and it's like the little tortilla boy, and he's coming to theaters, and they're like, "No, it's not. The tortillas, don't take them." And he's like, "You know what I'm talking about?" That comedian.
I do. It's who's the,
like coming to theaters soon. Arnold Schwarzenegger is little tortilla boy, and he's like, "I'll make them. I'm making them."
I do. Who is that guy? I know
Pablo Francisco.
Pablo Francisco. Yep.
It might be, but it's so that's where I get my deep voice from, is from that. But I bet I could do it. Now I feel like I want to do a deep voice intro on purpose for one of the episodes that we do on our show.
You know what you should do? Keep and Shuff. You can't listen to this part, so this part is Shuff free. This is Shuff spoilers. You can't just turn the episode off for you. Here's the outro. Calvin, I tricked you. We're done. This podcast for nerds. Shuff and don't listen. So what you gotta do is like record 9 of the same intro you normally do, and then just hit it with a banger. Just be like,
at the end,
Shuff, you're a little tortilla boy. Just hit him with it.
I always say stuff to him when I'm doing it too, because I gotta send him the files, right? So I'll do one, and I'll be like, "All right, Shuff, I'm feeling lucky. I'm doing one more." I'm like, I'll do another one, or I'll laugh. Like I'll stop midway to like, "This one fucking sucks." Like stop, and I'm like. Because it's tough when you're staring. I try to do them live because I get better like feeling when I just do like a bunch of live cuts as opposed to reading it. But like the other day, I think I even have one written down, like something stupid. It was my guy. Oh, because it was my Shamrock guy. And I was trying to do an Irish accent, and I was having such a tough time. But Shuff banged it up. It was a good one this week. He had like Irish music in the background. He was like, buttering up for me. But yeah, I kept trying to say like, "From the shores of Sea Isle." Like I was trying to make myself sound like a leprechaun. But I definitely have fun. That's probably one of the funnest parts for me when making it, is coming up with those intros, because I finally get to do it all by myself without anybody telling me what to do. So because they got to keep me on track. I mean, if it wasn't for, I say this every time, if it wasn't for Shuff and Abby, there would definitely be no Be Easy podcast, because I'm so unorganized and all over the place.
Well, there are 2 Cobbs running this show, so it somehow works.
I had tons of fun hanging out, guys, though.
Yeah, thank you so much for hopping on. Make sure you all subscribe to the Be Easy podcast, and we'll see you next time on This Podcast is for Nerds.